Kevin Kamps is the nuclear waste watchdog with Beyond Nuclear, the website beyondnuclear.org. And Kevin, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Tom.
This is a whole lot more serious than being in Playboy. The Fukushima nuclear reactors are all problematic. Reactor number 4, particularly problematic. Close hit from a typhoon. We were a cyclone. I was talking about that on the air earlier in the week, and I just wanted to get you on and check in with you. What's the latest? What's going on?
Oh, it's such chaos at the Fukushima Daiichi site. It's at least a weekly, if not a daily, crisis, and that includes things like leaks of highly radioactive water into the ground that then flow into the ocean on a regular basis, and workers getting doused with highly radioactive water, making incredible mistakes like overfilling the storage containers with highly radioactive water so it just spills over the top and then goes into the ground and into the ocean. And you mentioned Unit 4. That's, the ground over there is so waterlogged with highly radioactive water that there's concern that the structural integrity of Unit 4, which is already very questionable, is even further undermined. It's kind of like a quicksand situation. So here's a, worst storm in a decade, incredible amounts of rainfall, like close to a meter of rainfall in just a day. I can't even imagine that. So,
at least that's water they didn't have to, they've been pouring water on these reactors to keep them from overheating with fire hoses and things, haven't they? I mean, maybe storm gave them a break for a day.
Well, the typhoon actually, what it's done is it's worsened the radioactive water leaks into the ground and into the ocean.
Right.
So at Unit 4, they're about to start, probably in a couple weeks or less, starting to move the irradiated fuel out of the storage pool, which is a very dicey operation, but they have to do it because if another quake with that, quicksand ground takes that building down, it would be a catastrophic fire releasing hazardous radioactivity. So they're trying to get the waste down to the ground without dropping it because that could punch a hole in the floor of the pool and drain the cooling water away. So it's already a global catastrophe that's been unfolding for over 2.5 years, but it could get a whole lot worse in a great big hurry.
Wow. How is it affecting the rest of the globe? It seems like there's no reporting whatsoever on this other than, hey, they got a problem over there in Japan and they're not quite sure what to do.
Yeah, I mean, the things happening at Fukushima Daiichi, if they were happening somewhere else, would be huge news because they're serious nuclear accidents, but because it's there, they just lump it into the mess and stop paying attention to it a long time ago. The way it's affecting the rest of the world at this point, anyway, are these daily releases of 300 tons of radioactive water, which is 72,000 gallons of radioactive water flowing into the bay and then into the ocean beyond. And sometimes when they have leaks from this tank farm of giant storage containers where the highly radioactive water is stored, then it is highly radioactive water going into the ocean. So that's a constant daily release of radioactivity into the ocean. Unfortunately, the nuclear establishment, the Japanese government, see it as dilution is the solution. It's a big Pacific Ocean. What they're ignoring is the bioconcentration of radioactivity in the food chain, in the fish. And there is pressure by the fishing industry, including, even small-scale family fishermen, to begin fishing that coastline, which is going to be very problematic. We have less protection on our seafood here in the U.S. than the Japanese do. So we could easily import radioactive fish from Japan that they see as unfit for humans.
And not even know it.
Yeah, the testing programs here are not good. And there's a group called Fukushima Fallout Awareness Network that's working hard to get the Food and Drug Administration to take this issue seriously.
Now, the principal elements that are taken up by animals are, correct me if I'm wrong, are cesium, right, is taken up as potassium. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, and in muscle tissue, so you got cesium-134 and cesium-137 radioactive.
Right, and then what's the one that's taken up by the bones? Strontium?
Strontium-90.
Strontium-90. And then, of course, iodine's taken up by the thyroid, but iodine has a much shorter lifespan, the radioactive iodine.
The iodine-131 has an 8-day or 80-day hazardous persistence.
Right.
You've got iodine-129, which is a forever poison, so that would still be an issue.
Oh, I didn't know that. So are these elements, if there's cesium or strontium in the fish, radioactive cesium and strontium in the fish, and you eat the fish, it's going to get in your body, and your body's going to absorb it, the cesium into the muscle tissue, the strontium into your bones, and eventually can very easily cause cancer because these things emit particles and rays that bust up DNA in ways that flip cancer on.
Yeah.
But are they radioactive enough that I have one of these little Geiger counters that I bought on? Well, it's not so little. It's it's about 4 times the size of a pack of cigarettes, and it was like about $400. It's supposed to be a really good one, and I keep wanting to take it into restaurants and into supermarkets, and my wife won't let me. I mean, this is literally, Louise and I get into it's one of the few things that we just really disagree about. And I've even thought about, just going to the supermarket alone one day and walking around with a Geiger counter. But, and when we lived in Germany, I could actually get it to trip over mushrooms in particular, and eventually some kinds of milk. Because we lived in Germany, we moved there literally in May of 1986, or June of '86, right after the meltdown at Chernobyl. But is that radiation hot enough that you could pick it up with a handheld Geiger counter?
Well, just a word of advice on going to restaurants. You could turn the sound off on your meter, and you wouldn't attract any attention. You'd just be anonymously checking the radiation in your food. But, they do run similar devices over the seafood in Japan. I mean, I've seen photographs of this. There's probably something like that going on at the federal level in the United States. It's kind of a rudimentary way of checking for radioactivity in food, though. You need special equipment. You actually need to do it in a more of a laboratory-like setting, because even dilute radioactivity in the flesh of fish or in other foodstuffs can be a problem. I mean,
I mean, if it's emitting 1 particle a minute, you wouldn't notice that with a Geiger counter. But if that becomes part of your heart muscle and it's emitting 1 particle a minute for the next 10 years, that could take you down.
Well, here's the figures. In Japan, it's 100 becquerels per kilogram in food. That's the cutoff. If it's worse than that, It's unfit for human consumption. A becquerel is a radioactive disintegration per second. So you can think of it in time. It's 100 radioactive disintegrations per second in 2.2.
So that if you could measure that with a Geiger counter, that would sound like. Brrr.
Yep. And in the U.S., it's 12 times worse. We allow 1,200 becquerels per kilogram in our food.
You're kidding.
Incredibly. Nope. It's,
Louise is not going to stop me from carrying that Geiger counter. There's a network of people around America doing this, aren't there?
Yeah, it's called the Fukushima Fallout Awareness Network, and they focused on the Food and Drug Administration with a petition drive, an official petition calling on the FDA to do much more testing on the seafood supply.
Yeah, amazing. Kevin Kamps, nuclear waste watchdog at Beyond Nuclear. BeyondNuclear.org is the website. Keep an eye on Fukushima and tell your friends. Thank you, Kevin, for dropping by.
Thanks so much, Tom.
We'll be back.